how do you feel about scrying?
Scrying? I mean, the duration's like 10 minutes, isn't it?
Yep.
So, I mean, that doesn't seem that OP to me.
Or no, I know it's just some DMs are like any spells like you tell the future is god awful. Or
No, it's
help you with
just...
certain things.
Well, scrying doesn't
It's a
tell you the
possible
future.
future.
Scrying lets you see anywhere, like, that you can, like, think of, if it exists. On, like, the plane you're on. Like, scrying doesn't tell you the future. You're
There's a
thinking...
spell that does tell you the
There's
future.
spells that do that, but that's not what scrying does. Scrying lets you basically, like, spy on people. It's like a little orb that
you can
lasts for like 10
them.
minutes that lets you like see and hear what's going on. So like you could scry on like the big bad guy if you like knew
Right.
his name, and there'd be like a chance that you'd be able to like see where he's at. The more you know about the target, or if you have like an actual like hair from them or whatever, like it's easier to do. But all right.
You need 1,000 golds. Focus.
So who wants to do recap for inspiration? I feel like almost all of you have inspiration at this point, but...
Nope, I don't have inspiration.
I don't.
You were here for basically all of it last time, Makarov.
9.9% of
I
it.
left when you guys did, like, the most unnecessary shit. It was downtime shit for the rest after that.
So, Brittany and Makarov fight. I don't care who does it.
I don't feel like
Round 1.
I took 30.
Fight. Who's doing
My
it?
notes are super. Fuck it, I'll do it. My notes are super descriptive. Okay, so basically, the Duchess and her minions gave us a stairway to the throne, won the option to talk to her. We asked questions, we got lots of information about her past. With the heretic, we figured out she knows Count Strahd, King of Vampires. And if we bring her Illithid, we can get to Strahd. We try to compromise. Everyone shakes her hand except me. She gives a necklace, disappears. We head out of the arena to contact Mage. We appear to the Archmage's chambers and talk to him. Hawk sees Shadow pointing out a door, blah, 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 follows it, all that stuff. An asshole gives her an assignment. Then Anton goes to church, sees a paladin of Palor, blah, blah, blah. You know, we meet Brittany. And something's wrong with Jarell. Archmage flips out, blah, blah. Orzeal takes a necklace, brings Jarell a snakeskin, and, then, after all that, we go into a portal to go see Strahd. Then we get in the Shadowfell, go to Ravenloft, we see a bunch of statues and stuff. And then we go into this building past the courtyard, and Anton enters with us. We talk to Strahd. Then after we talk to Strahd, we get all this stuff. Mercer comes out, and that's when we're introduced to Mercer. Then we go. Get the contract from Strahd to go after the Silver Dragon crew or whatever. And we get this dagger on the way out to kill the Silver Dragon person. What's his name? Vladimir. And found a fort with a reinforced door, blown out wall. We go in there. It's an abandoned mansion. After we go around exploring this building, finding out stuff, you know, Anton talks to the bitch in the fire, almost dies. Then we fight through undead down this hallway. Then we got into the boss fight. We killed Vladimir. Then Strahd came and talked to us. You know, everyone asked some bullshit questions and jokes. And he sent my ass out for some reason. And I think he didn't like us. And then we all got teleported back to where we were before. And Mercer also appeared with us. And that's when I left. Other than that, it was pretty much downtime stuff.
Alright, Raziel, what did you end up doing at the end of the session? Because that's basically where we're picking right up at, if you remember.
Wasn't I going up to talk to Arthur? Right?
You actually
Yep. Yeah, that's what you're gonna do.
I believe
Ahead of
so,
the
but
guild.
you also used your sending stone right at the end of the session.
Did I? What did I do? Key mind Colin. What did I tell him to do?
Keen biggest
I
plot
fucking
device ever.
Jesus Christ.
You used your sending stone and you contacted Amakir, and
Right.
he was talking to you, and he was like, so did you discover, you know, like
Here,
where
bro.
does it? Okay. And he's like, you were like, where does this like web of networks go? Basically, he was asking for like any more like people you found that were involved with this Ugrisk and basically the whole shebang, and you were like, oh, well, we did get this name of some archmage. I believe you got his name, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Archmage Tenebris.
Yep. And as soon as you gave him that name, you just heard like the disconnect that you heard before the last time. He just came sprinting down the stairs before. You just heard it just cut like that. And I believe... Where were the rest of you at? I believe Mercer is still just wandering around the hallways confused.
Yeah, I
You
tried
were
to
heading
talk
up-
to, I don't know what his name was, but I talked to an old man that basically told me to fuck off.
Well, he's not an old man, but yes.
I'm just like wandering around trying to find out where the fuck I am because I just got teleported here from Ravenloft. I was down south, man. The fuck is this place?
And Brittany, Yuki, Makarov, you all were out like shopping or something, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what all you guys are doing. Raziel and Mercer, I believe, are the only ones left inside. Anton, I believe, was praying at his church.
Yep.
That got demolished.
Yeah,
Because
he's
being-
allowed
because
into
it's
a
being
mega
rebuilt.
church.
Because it's being rebuilt.
Into a mega church.
So we'll just go with Raziel here, and maybe Mercer if he catches the conversation. Okay.
Mercer's here, bud, so I'm ready to catch any conversation you throw at me, you bitch.
So, Mercer, you're basically looking around the hallways right now of the guild hall, and you see all these people basically coming and going as you wander further down the stairs, past the man who just ignored you. And you just see basically, the further you go down, the more people you see. And generally, the further you go down, the younger the overall like population seems to be. And most of them just kind of look at you, look down at your... Mostly, they look at your ammo belt, kind of confused, but keep walking by.
I'm just gonna walk up to someone that looks like they're in charge here and be like, what the fuck is this place?
Make a perception check.
Look at that.
First roll of the session, boys. Perception.
Turning this. This is the
18.
thing.
18.
18.
Not
boy.
bad. With a fucking
Yes,
8
look at
modifier.
This,
boy.
this isn't oscillating with this. Right.
Okay.
Oscillating. Love that word.
So, I don't believe I said he was at the wall. I don't think so. So, you're looking around, and you're basically doing your best to decipher, like, who around here looks like a leader of some sort. And basically, as you're walking down, you see somebody basically who looks to be in his maybe late 50s. He's wearing these long black robes, and he's just walking past you, and you just basically kind of tap him on the shoulder, like, you know, hey, what's going on around here? And
Yeah.
you just see he just turns, and he gives you the biggest just side eye that you've ever seen. And he says, "Don't speak to me, student." And he keeps walking.
I'm not a student. I just got teleported back from the Shadowfell with Strahd.
You
I
see,
don't know where the
like,
hell I am.
you see kind of mid-walk, he just stops, turns around, and gets extremely close to you, and just looks at you straight in your eyes. It says, "Explain further, please."
Is there somewhere more private we can go? I don't want all these kiddies getting excited by this story.
He says, "Just here's fine." They know better
Alright.
than to listen on my conversations.
Alright, so I tell him, alright, look, I was down south, right? I'm guessing I don't know where the hell this place is. I was in the southern part of the region. Picked up this bounty on this bounty board, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a great deal. Boom. I get teleported, and I'm standing right in front of Strahd, right? Like, what the hell is that? Then
He says,
tells me,
please
hey,
get to the point.
alright, and then your fucking faggot-ass people show up, right? And then they're like, hey, we're gonna help you kill Strahd. I was like, alright, y'all look a little green, but okay. And so we go, not kill Strahd, but kill some other shit, Revenant thing.
Shit.
And so we go out there, we kick ass, we come back, or we don't come back. He teleports to the place that we killed this dude, and then he goes, hey, get the fuck up out of my place, alright, bye. And then he teleported me back here. Now where the fuck is here?
He just looks at you and just clearly annoyed by the whole situation. He says, so you're traveling with Raziel and his other compatriots.
I honestly have no idea. They never said their name.
No.
No one ever told me their name. There was a mage.
He looks at you and he
dude
said,
that liked to cut his wrists.
he looks at you,
There
he
was-
says the wizard, he says the wizard who's overly fond of throwing fireballs.
I don't think he threw a fireball. I can't recall.
Where's your
It was
sense
a
holes
jumbled
my
up
beer?
mess right now.
He looks at you,
Ah.
he says, I have a lot to deal with right now. Discuss with this,
Myself.
he says, discuss with your compatriots about what to do with you. I have a lot that I need to worry about right now. And he walks away from you. Leaving
Where the
you,
fuck are they?
leaving
Where
you,
are they?
leaving you just about as confused as you were before.
I'm fucking dead, dude.
Alright, now Raziel. So, last thing that you did, basically, before the session ended last time, is use your Sending Stone to contact Amakir. And you were basically like, yeah, we found another accomplice of this, you know, Mind Flayer Ugrisk. And then you basically just gave this name that Strahd gave you. It was an Archmage Tenebris. And as soon as you did that, you basically just heard the Sending Stone on the other line just click. So, as you're basically now just walking out of the Archmage quarters, Raziel, make a perception check.
A hole opens up and the abyss forms beneath your feet.
Okay. So, you hear what sounds something arcane in nature, Raziel, above the stairs, kind of towards Arthur's chambers, at the very top of the guild hall. And you just hear what sounds like very rapid footsteps coming down the staircase towards you.
We leave it out.
Well, I guess I go look.
Okay. And when you do so, and you look over, and you see what looks like a very worn out and tired Archmage Amakir that just basically runs within, you know, a couple feet of you, looks at you, and says, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I got the name correctly. He says, could you repeat it in person? There is some arcane disturbance over the line.
Yeah, the vampire said his name was Tenebris.
You see his eyes get real wide. He says, you're sure?
Positive.
He says, well, this does not bode well. He says, gather the rest of your people. He says, meet me back in my chambers. And he hands you a pin, similar to one he's handed you before to get back in.
Alright. I say, wait, first. Strahd also gave me this little amulet, which he got from Ugris. And I show him the little obsidian blackstone thing.
Okay. You see he looks at it. Once again, you see he kind of performs like a little incantation on it. And you see immediately he casts that same spell where he summoned what looks like a little treasure chest, basically, and you see him immediately just toss it in it, and then make the spell go out. And you see, but after he does so, he clearly looks very fatigued, looks very drained, much more than he did previously.
What was that? Why'd you throw it in the chest?
He says, some things are much better isolated away from such disturbances.
Fair enough.
He says, I sense foul necromantic energies on that ring. This is better in there than out here. Yeah, he just tells you to gather the rest of your party. You got a lot to discuss.
I guess it will go try and find someone.
Okay. So it doesn't take you very long. You go down a flight of stairs or two, and you see Mercer basically just doing spins in the middle of the hallway. Has like no idea where he is.
I say, go on and head upstairs. The Archmage should fill you in.
Finally, someone with some fucking common sense. I'll be right up there. Don't worry about me.
You go upstairs.
Okay.
Knock on the door.
No way to get inside, from what you can tell.
Fuck me. Alright, well, I'm gonna walk immediately right back downstairs and outside.
Okay, so you see Mercer just walking back past you, Raziel. As you're walking out, presumably you look for the rest of your party, you just see Mercer just walking past you in the same direction.
I say, I meant just go wait up there. I have to go get the others, and then we can all go in.
You know what? I'm just gonna follow you, alright? Maybe I'll find out where the fuck I
fine.
am.
Okay. So do you go looking for Brittany and all of them on their shopping spree?
Yeah.
Okay.
I ask some guards, like, oh, which way did they go? And I say, alright, men, cock your weapon.
You see one of the guards...
Don't worry about me. I'm good. You worry about yourself.
You see the guards just kind of look between the two of you, and they just kind of raise their hands up and just kind of pinch their fingers together.
Okay, what I'm going to do is going to be really funny and possibly really bad. I'm going to hold out my arm and release the gun that I have hidden up my sleeve, and I'm going to point it at his head and say, just tell us where they are, please.
Make an intimidation check.
Hello?
Joey.
Hi,
I
fellas.
got a 17.
Way to go, Joey. He looks at you, Mercer, and with your intimidation check, he just says, What is that?
I will shoot it once up in the air.
You see, after you shoot it, you see, well, it looks like a human, and fairly stocky, a little bit shorter than you. And he just kind of looks up into the air. He says, and you see he just kind of like covered his ears a little bit from you firing it off extremely loud. He says, well, when is that coming down?
I'm just going to push past him and start walking towards wherever the market district is.
You see he just kind of looks completely dumbfounded. And you see you see a dwarf next to him, and he says, "What? Don't you think we should do something, laddie?" And you see the other one just kind of looks at him, and he says, "Well, we'll let him get away this time. Don't ever say we didn't have mercy."
The fucking idiots.
So you go looking, Raziel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ain't about to get extorted by 2 fucking guards.
So you guys are walking off, and you, Raziel, basically just looking for Brittany wherever she went on a shopping spree. And you go searching for a while, and eventually you see what looks like Brittany and the company in tow, and you see her basically in front of what looks like a stand of some sort. In one of the poor areas of the city, it basically just looks like a simple, like, they basically just sell various different dyes and pigments and stuff. Looks like an old lady's running the stand.
Uh-huh.
And you see it looks like the lady's basically just applying some, like, fresh pink paint to Brittany's, basically, plate armor.
Alright. I will walk up and say to Brittany, I say, right, Blondie. Alright, enough with the Play-Doh on the armor. The Archmage wants us up in the chamber.
Can you like 5 minutes?
It's kind of urgent.
Yeah, so is this.
What? Putting some pink paint on some armor is urgent.
Duh.
You could have just bought some paint and done that yourself, you know.
Do I look like a commoner to you?
Alright. I just spit and I say fucking nobles.
Yeah.
And I...
And
I
Brittany, keep
stow
in mind,
the-
if you want Marvin to be able to do that thing to your armor, you're gonna have to leave it with him for a solid week. So,
Okay.
Alright, well...
whenever you want to drop it off to him. So,
I
Did I
guess
drop
I'll...
it off? I can't remember.
I don't remember. If you want him to be able to do that to your armor, you have to drop it off to him for a week.
I think I just had him painted, so I think we should go.
What do you say?
I'm pretty sure he already had it painted by that old lady.
Yeah, you did. That's why I was bringing you back over here, basically, when you were just finishing that up.
Oh, we're just finishing it? Okay, then never mind. Yeah, I'll go with him. I'll go with him.
Just know that Marvin just, like, can't do that enchantment until you drop it off to him. That's what I was basically just trying to tell you.
We'll just do it.
What do you say, Brittany?
I'm gonna go with Brazil.
I can't hear you. You're too
I'm
quiet.
gonna go with Brazil.
Okay.
I even turned the gain up for you.
I'm sorry, don't yell at me.
So you basically take Yuki and Makarov and all them in tow, back up to the castle with you. Back up to Andrea's castle. Horacio leading the way. You see as you basically walk back up towards the castle, you see the guards kind of look around at all of you. Mostly just indifferent expressions until they eye Mercer, who you just see their eyes just get much narrower as he walks by.
I'll just look at him and go, what? You got a fucking problem?
You see the dwarf looks at you, Raziel, and he says, "Aye, laddie, is this one with you, or can we deal with him?"
Yeah,
Deal
he's
by
with me for
extort,
now.
you pile of shit.
The Archmage wants to see him, so we're going up there, you know.
Yeah. Fuck out of my face.
You see he just kind of nods at you, Raziel, and just kind of gives you a disgusted look, Mercer, as he just lets you through.
You gonna take a picture? You gonna paint a picture? It'll last a little bit longer there, bud.
Is what do you mean, take a picture, you
I said
idiot?
paint a picture, you fuck. Quick, get your quill out. Draw me really fast. It'll last a little bit longer there, bud.
They open the doors for you. Let you through. Okay. So, you guys head all the way back up to the Archmage's chambers.
Wait, we still need Makarov and Yuki. And Haggard.
Yeah, they were out on like a shopping trip basically with Brittany.
Uh,
So you
You
guys
guys are
had
forgetting somebody.
Anton.
Yep.
Guys, get him on the way out. Anton is currently on a religious expedition. If you want to go back to get him at the church, you can. It's up to you, Raziel. You're the one gathering everybody.
I'm sure he'll come whenever his silly sun god tells him the time is right.
Okay.
You just said that in front of Brittany. That's the greatest thing ever.
Silly sun god.
I don't know. Brittany didn't say anything, so Brittany's cool with it, I guess. Brittany likes blasphemy.
And so you guys head up towards the Archmage's chambers. Use your pen, Raziel.
Yeah.
So you go inside and you see an Archmage Amakar who's clearly tired and is currently resting and basically in one of the chairs in his like Archmage chambers basically. You see he just kind of looks up at all of you and he says, where's your cleric?
Not with us. Forget him.
I didn't forget it. Did you not listen to what I just said?
No.
I didn't think so. Does anyone else want to talk?
Alright. Where the fuck am I?
He looks at you very confused. He says, are you not from around here?
No.
He looks at you and he says, well, I guess clearly not, based on those contraptions around you.
I'm not even gonna dignify that with a response.
Why is the... Does anyone else hear the bot dying?
Yeah, the boss kind of killed himself a little bit.
Save it. Save it.
Saved the bot.
Save it.
Last
Save
time I
the
just had
bot.
to let it just die for a second and it fixed itself.
Oh, hit back
Oh,
down.
there it goes.
Alright.
So you just don't even respond to that, Mercer?
No.
Okay. You see, he just kind of can tell that you just don't even.
I'm just
respond
looking
to
at him
that.
like,
Yeah, he notices that you kind of took a little bit of offense to that, so he just continues on. He looks around at the rest of you and he says, "Well, regardless of if your cleric is here, the matter is urgent." He says, "You speak of this Archmage Tenebris, yes?"
Yeah, that's what Straw said.
He says, "Well, I can't say anything of this man's character, but from what I've heard, he is not exactly the most honorable man. Do you have any reason to doubt what he says?"
I mean, it's fucking Strahd. So, believe what you want.
I don't think he was lying, but I can't tell if he was telling the truth either. So it's the only lead we really have.
Oh, none of us insight check him?
What?
Did none of us insight check him?
I did.
Raziel did insight check him, but he had like complete poker face. Raziel wasn't able to read him at all.
Yeah.
So he just looks around the rest of you and just says, "Well, Tenebris used to be associated with the guild." He says, "He actually... Me and him used to run the guild together for a time."
Would you guys have a breakup?
He just kind of gives you like the side eye and just continues like completely shifts his focus away from you to the rest of the group.
Okay, representation. Thanks, Colin.
Oh boy. He just looks at the rest of you besides Mercer and says, "He began experimenting with fouler magics. He was
Like psionic magic?
he
Or
was more
necromantic?
he was more concerned specifically with pursuing a path to lichdom, which the guild explicitly denies access to."
Doesn't that guy that wears black robes do the same thing?
He looks at you very strangely. "Professor Snakeskin."
I don't know his name, but he looks like the necromancer type.
"Necromancy is allowed, within limits. The path to lichdom is another thing entirely. It says expressly forbidden. It's a crime against all things nature, against all sane magical traditions. It never ends well. It only creates the vilest of creatures."
So if we're dealing with lichdom, we have to be looking out for a phylactery. That's what you're telling us.
He says, "All I know is that once he began pursuing this path, we kicked him out of the guild, sent him on his way." He says, "But now," he says, "before I thought it was merely nothing. There are many court wizards in the world. Not enough to where he could lose count of them, but enough." He says, "Recently, one of your previous contractors," he just looks at the rest of you, besides Mercer. He says, "One of our previous contractors recently has actually lost one of the court wizards. There's something about a falling out between him and his king. He says previously he didn't think much of it. He says, but now I believe there may be a connection."
Yeah, where's this kingdom at?
He says, "It was your previous contractor." He looks at he says their previous contractor because you weren't part of the group, Mercer. He says, "It's in a small city, far away from here, called Barak."
What's the pay like?
Colin.
What'd you say, Brittany?
I fucking knew it.
I said, what's the pay like?
What's the pay like?
Yeah, because I'm a monster hunter. I restore law and order to places.
As long
But
as you
not
get
for
coin.
free. As long as I get coin. I gotta survive and make more
He says, "Well, if you
modifications.
wish to restore law and order, I'm sure whatever caused this falling out between his king and his wizard council, I'm sure was a big grievance, a big violation of their laws. Because I'm sure they would be willing to pay you. And of course we would be willing to pay you.
Wait, the falling out of the core with Datu?
Yeah. Datu was a wizard. He was
I'm gonna
magic.
look at him and be like, so what is this guild thing that you keep speaking of? Is that what this place is?
It's a
Is this just one gigantic guild?
He says he just looks at you clearly frustrated. There are many guilds in the city, but we are the dominant one, and we are the one who run the entire government within the city, within Gaiax. We run almost everything here. We allow other guilds to exist, but we clearly are the favorite. Obviously. It looks at you.
It's not that obvious when I've only seen the inside of this place. But, so, if I do this, can I just fucking stay here? Because there's no point in leaving now.
He just looks at you. He says, "Get me more info about this Archmage, and we will see if you are worthy, like the rest of these people here, of joining the guild."
I'm gonna say, done. I'm gonna look at Raziel and be like, alright, make a teleportation circle.
Do you know what that
Didn't
is?
even know that I can do that yet.
Oh, you can't do that? Oh, never
Well, no, I
mind then.
can do that, but the Archmage doesn't know I can do that.
He looks
Oh.
at you. He looks at you, Razil, and he says, "You know teleportation.
Yeah, I had.
You've been having me teleport you around. A very
No, no, no,
exhausting
no, no,
spell,
no.
I must say."
I just
while
go,
you were
"Oh,"
away, I
and
had,
just back away slowly.
I had that guy who always dresses in black, Snake or something. I don't know his name. He taught me.
Says, "You know it's quite rude not to know your professors' names."
He's not really my professor.
He says, "You never had to study any monsters of the dark arts." He says, "I know
No,
you've
I
taken the
did.
course," and he just kind of looks at you with a side eye.
You know,
Get shit on.
I can really remember from the conversation is the spell and that he was sweating a lot. He was sweating quite a lot. I don't know why he was sweating so much.
He just kind of just looks at you strangely. Just says, "I cannot teleport you at the moment." He says, "I am far too exhausted." He says, "Defending this wall has taken a lot out of me." He says, "I will return there shortly." He says, "If you know teleportation, I'm sure you can handle it."
Yeah, but I've never been to Barak before. I have no idea where that is.
Hey guys.
Anton knows.
He says, "Well, that sounds like a problem for you to figure out."
Alright, I guess I'll figure it out. Also, one more thing, Amakia. That ring I gave you. It looked an awful lot like that thing that was on top of that beholder we fought down in hell.
I forget who, didn't Zariel take the other one from you guys, or did you guys take it?
What?
Ariel. Who the hell's Ariel?
What, the little phylactery thing?
Yeah.
No, you remember Jorel had it, and then the Archmage took it, so he
Oh
has
yeah,
both of them
that's right.
now.
Okay, that's what I
That's why I'm
thought. I
telling
just
you.
wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So you tell him that it looks similar to the other one?
Yeah.
He says, "Yes, I noticed that as well." He says, "I'm curious to see what happens when they're in close proximity to each other." And he says, "But when I do this, I need to do it far away from any potential casualties." He says, "So I will do it near the wall."
Can I do a history check?
A history check? For what
Yeah.
specifically?
I will see if I remember anything or know anything at all about liches.
That would be more of an arcana check.
Okay, hang on. Sorry, don't count that. God damn it,
okay.
don't count that. Don't count that.
Don't count that nat 20.
Don't count that 20. I wasn't... Oh, well, right. Rest in peace.
Great.
Better luck next time. I
froze.
should have rolled Arcana instead of history first. It's the same bonus, it's both a +9.
Oh man. From what
Yeah.
so you're trying to remember specifically about phylacteries for liches?
Yeah.
As far as you know, phylacteries are generally just one self-contained unit. They're not really split up.
Yeah. I say
But
to...
you know... Okay, what do you say?
Well, I was gonna say, like, okay, I say to Armacamera, like, okay, what if that little ring we got from Strahd, what if that's, like, Tenebrous' phylactery or something? I mean, leaving it with Strahd, I mean, that's a pretty safe bet to not get it destroyed.
He says it's a possibility. He says, I'm more concerned with seeing if the two share a common link. To see if they're connected to the same object or if they're split amongst different life forces, is what I'm interested in finding out. He says, I don't know what's worse, these all linking to one powerful creature, or us having multiple agents pursuing lichdom that are all connected in some way.
I also ask him real quick before I go and try and find someone to help.
Mercer just puts his hand up. What? Wait.
I got a question.
Okay.
I need to buy supplies for these things, you call them. We're gonna buy some alchemy supplies.
He looks at you. He says, you are in a grand city. I am not here to provide you a shopping list.
Alright, fine.
Tour guide.
Bye. Walk out.
Okay.
Bye.
Alright. I say to Amakir, I'm all like, also, do you have any update about what's going on at that wall? Should we go there and handle that, or what?
He says, well, the situation is largely under control, besides the fact that the undead horde has almost doubled in size.
It's getting larger.
It's now over 600 undead? Are you fucking kidding
Do you
me?
think it might be time to, like, send all of us over there, or, like, a lot of the guild over there so we can handle that? That seems like a pretty pressing matter.
He says, we still have the wall sealed off with Wall of Force spells. We have all of our wizards rotating. We may keep the spells maintained. He
Yeah,
says,
but that's not even a solution. That's just delaying the problem.
He says, the only solution that I can see would be to eliminate whatever is summoning these foul creatures. He says,
It's the
and
Death Knight.
he says, possibly. He says, but who created the Death Knight is my question.
Yeah, fair point. Alright.
He says, I worry that if we drop our defenses and attempt to attack this Death Knight, that he will have something up his sleeve. He says, I think right now, getting as much info as we can is the best course of action.
Alright. Yeah.
He says,
Does anyone else wanna say anything too?
I wouldn't know about any of this.
Brittany's just like, undead horde? Oh, sounds nice.
Sounds like a problem.
David,
Hmm.
do you want to say anything to him?
No, we're good.
Maybe about some of that cash money?
Cash money.
Could say, Archmage,
Archmage.
as we have been coming back, going off another place, coming back, going off another place, over and over and over again. And we have not received anything for our efforts. Is there something that you can give us?
He walks up to you, puts his hand on your shoulder, and says, you've done a fine job. He says,
So
now
now-
what specifically are you asking for?
Some sort of reward or payment? As we went to deal with a devil, dealt with her, and then we went and dealt with Strahd and dealt with him.
He says,
Doubtful.
well, normally this process takes far longer. He says, we could give you a space on the 4th floor to have your own individual, shall we say, adventurer's hall.
What?
I think that would be a swell idea.
Swell idea.
Swell idea, you old
David-
fuck.
He's like
That
50
sounds
years
great.
old.
I would
That sure is swell, China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks. He says, "You would have access. He says, each of you. The hall should just have just enough rooms for all of you. You would have a dining table to your own, a cook of your own, and a few house servants." He says, "Is this an appropriate reward for now?"
I believe that is.
Brittany wants to cut in.
Sure.
Can I paint my room? Can I decorate it? Am I allowed to paint my own decoration?
You see, he just says, he just stops you. He just, you can do with your room whatever you like.
Oh my god, thanks.
He just kind of nods and just sits.
Can I have a floor?
He just nods. And he just leans back in his chair and he says, "No, please, if you excuse me, I've had a very, very long day." And he just kind of looks over to the Illithid, who currently has like the wall of force around him. And he says, "You and me both." And he just looks at the Illithid. And he just goes to sleep in his chair. Basically looks like he just passes out right in front of you.
Like Makarov?
Basically.
He fucking is.
Mike.
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 He's done, dude.
Dude, is he dead?
Hang on, wait. I gotta snippet this for later.
Mike.
I gotta snippet it.
Mike is dead.
Alright,
Actually get Mike dead on camera. We witnessed it.
I don't know what point he died, but holy shit.
It's been like that for a while. I thought he was just like resting.
He's gonna wake up and be like, "This was the best session ever. So many cool moments. Oh, I dreamed all of that. You suck,
Should we just-
Colin."
we
You want
let
to
him
text him,
sleep?
Colin? Or are you gonna? It's up to you.
Dude, you think a text message getting through that? You're yelling into his ears and he's not waking up. I don't...
Hang on, wait. Joey, can you try something, real quick? Just
Or what?
A little something,
If he doesn't wake up, Makarov is just staying back.
Hey,
Take a little
whoa.
nappy nap.
Joey, can you do a little... Joey, can you do a little...
Play the.
Yeah.
Now this is gonna get us all the YouTube views, dude. Everyone's just gonna comment and just gonna be like, "Why is this one guy in here? He was literally asleep the entire time."
I can't wake him up, man.
I say we just
man.
leave him like that and see how long he just stays asleep in the middle of the session.
Ugh.
Oh man.
Give Mike his, beauty sleep, you know?
Dude, how is he not
Pass
like...
down.
How does that not hurt, dude?
I don't know, man.
He's got like his head like that on the back of his chair. Like, that would fucking kill me.
Oh man. Alright, so what do the rest of you guys do? You see the Archmage at this point has fallen asleep and he basically just tried to shoo you guys out of his chambers while he takes his nap.
I'm gonna go find a different guard than the one I threatened earlier.
Okay. Within the guild hall or just outside or what?
Just outside.
Okay. Well, it looks like it's the same main two guards. They're outside the front, or outside
No,
the front gates.
not like I'm gonna go find a guard in the city.
Oh, okay. So you walk around. Make a perception check, so you'll be fine.
Hoping for the same guy that helped us outside the thing.
Were
A
you there?
church that was
You weren't
apparently
there
a
for
bakery.
that.
I know, but I hope it's that same guy because he's pretty cool.
Okay, 18. Let me see if I...
Everybody like the music so far?
Pretty good.
You're welcome. It was your boy doing it. We're calling.
What was your boy?
I found a little bit more than Skyrim and Witcher music.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think right now it's The Hobbit. Peaceful songs in The Hobbit.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
So you're looking around basically just looking for a guard. You see a lot of them. You're looking for one that kind of catches your eye. And you actually see what looks like a Goliath guard. Looks very tall, very strong. He just looks over at you as you basically, you just kind of try to get his attention. He looks over at you and he says, "Yes, citizen."
I say, I'm with that guild up there. New
He
hire.
says, "Well, may I see some identification?"
New hire. Like I just got here. Went on a
He's-
mission with him.
He says, "All initiates receive their badge."
Yeah, that literally happened like a minute ago. I just walked out here to come get some supplies before the next adventure, so I haven't signed any of the paperwork yet.
What do you need, citizen?
I need an alchemy shop and a magic shop.
You need an alchemy shop.
Yeah.
Do you mean you need to find an alchemy shop?
Yes.
He says, well, that doesn't exactly narrow it down. He says, are you looking for the finest one in the city?
I'm just looking for supplies that I could use to further my research. So any would be fine. Just name them all and I'll find them.
Name all alchemy shop.
You are not from around here, are you?
No, I just got done fighting Strahd, or fighting for Strahd, whatever.
You see, there's not a look of recognition in his eyes, and he just kind of looks confused. He just says, look, citizen, he says, I can name you a fine establishment I know off the top of my head.
That'll do.
He says, but there are actual businesses in the city that are made just for new people like you to look around.
Hey, usually it's just guards. That's all I see in these cities I travel to.
He says, well, you've never been in Gaiax. He says, this is a city
No
built
shit.
for adventurers. We know what adventurers want. Looks at you.
What's the name of the shop? And I'll leave you alone.
He says, Marvin's Marvelous Magics.
Direction.
He points all the way back up towards the guild hall. He says,
Walk back.
he says,
Toss him a gold coin and say, thank you.
He flicks it back at you, and he says, we do not take bribes, citizen.
Nope. Flicks back.
Alright, whatever you say. I walk away from him.
Wow.
Fucking
He's like the only good
asshole.
guard, apparently.
What do you say,
Every other
Yuki?
guard, like, give us all the money.
I was just tipping him to be a nice guy.
Yeah, well, he thought it was more of a bribe. You know, some of the guards more principled than others.
I like that. A lot better than the guards up by the fucking guild hall.
Well, it's mostly the same two guards you guys have been interacting with. You haven't, like, done anything to stop them from being a-holes, so...
I'll put an end to that. Shoots one in the fucking ear.
That's not true. I threatened one of them.
That's true. But you notice they didn't do that crap when you were looking right at him. I guess you could have said something to him, but... Right. So you head all the way up to Marvin's Marvelous Magics?
Yep.
Okay. See the same thing that Jor-El saw. You see basically some guards on the outside. It looks like armored mages of some sort. They're wearing masks that each of them have a different arcane symbol on it from a different magic school. They just kind of look at you. You can't really see their eyes or anything, their entire face covered, but you can see their head just kind of like turn in your direction. You see them just look up and down at you, and then they move aside and let you through.
I walk in.
Yeah. You're greeted by a purple tiefling, who immediately looks very interested in you. You see mostly seems to be eyeing all the various guns you have on your person.
Boomsticks. Colin.
Boomsticks.
Yes. I walk up to him and I say, I need to purchase supplies to make these damn things work.
He says, my. He says, and what exactly would these things be?
Do you have a place I could show you? Because they pack quite a punch and they're fairly loud.
He says, I'm sure it won't be a problem.
Okay. Point at something.
Okay. What do you point at? You see basically
No, I'm
everywhere...
telling him to point at something that's not valuable.
Okay. You see him wave his hand around for a second, and you see what looks like basically a little wooden target dummy up here a few meters away from you inside the shop.
I'm going to pull Laura and Ashley and shoot it.
You see when you do so.
Oh.
You see when you do so. You see he slightly basically like tilts his head, looks like it. You can definitely tell it was loud for him. But he looks at you and he says, where did you learn to create such a strange invention?
Well, one day when I was living in an elven village down south.
He says, actually, I'm sure it's a great tale. He says, now what can I do for you? What can Marvin do to make you happy?
I need to buy supplies Mostly stuff to make the powder that fires these.
He says, "Are we talking sulfur? He says, what sort of ingredients do you need?"
Well, they don't say what the ingredients are, Colin, for gunsmith, actually. So I actually have no clue. But I would know, my character would know what it is. But I, as a player, do not know what they are. Because they don't specify.
He looks at you and he says, "Can I see one of your devices?"
I just look at him kind of side-eyed like, and say, please, don't do anything to this.
And you see, as soon as you hand it to him, you see him basically, with telekinesis, you see him spread all of the parts out, and you see him basically just disassemble the gun with all of the components just floating in the air. And
I'm just gonna bite my lip a little bit.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say freaking sulfur and charcoal.
Mm-hmm.
He basically looks at it, and you see the first thing that he goes for. He basically goes for the powder that's still inside the chamber of this. This is one of your pistols, right?
Yeah, I handed him Laura.
Yeah,
Which
and
he better not do shit to Laura. I'm gonna kill him.
He basically grabs the powder that's floating in the air, and after he does so, you see him just kind of smack his hands back together, and you see all the gun components just kind of slam back together to what they were before, but the gunpowder is clearly removed at this point. And he just kind of looks at it. He says, "So you just need more of this?"
Yeah, I need the supplies to make it. Because I can make it myself, unless you want to learn how to do it.
And Mercer, do your guns use bullets or slugs, or what do they use?
They use slugs. So it would be like a standard bullet today, but it would look like early adaptations.
So he actually pulls out basically like a slug, and then disassembles that, and it has the powder and stuff next to it.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of looks at it and he says, "Well, this doesn't look that complicated."
I said, trust me, the first time, and I pointed the scar that goes across my face, and I say, first time you do it, you better do it right. Otherwise, you'll get a little accident, and they explode, so.
He says, "Well, everyone has to have their first mistake."
Yeah.
He just looks and he says, "Appears to be fairly simple."
I mean, I can show you the right way to do it the first time.
He says,
it's not too hard.
He says, "A blacksmith might have actually everything you need for this. I don't know why you came to me."
I just was looking for supplies, and I figured a magic shop would have this kind of supplies on them.
He says, "I can
for components and stuff."
He says, "I have some of the components that you would need." He says, "But this honestly isn't my specialty." But he says, "I should have what you need." And you see, he basically just looks at you and just says, "One moment," and just comes back, and you see he brings what looks like 2 large barrels, and you see he puts what looks like some very fine, like basically looks like scrap metal on the table. He says, "Most of these components I have saved for special requests, but I guess this is a special request."
Yeah.
He says, "How many of these?" He says, "Do you just need the materials, or?"
Yeah, I just need the materials for them.
And he says, "Well, that is 1 full barrel of sulfur," and he points to that one on his left, and he says, "And that is 1 full barrel of charcoal."
Alright.
And then he looks on the table, and you basically just see a bunch of what looks like either iron or steel, basically scrap pieces.
Say how much for the entire thing, even though I know how this is gonna go. I'm gonna ask him, how much is the whole thing?
You ask him how much for all of it?
Yeah.
He just looks at you and he says, "Well," he says, "getting the whole barrel of each of these isn't exactly cheap."
Yeah, I figured. I'm just asking. I'm just curious. How much are you selling the whole thing for?
He says, "Each barrel," it says, 1,000 gold apiece.
1,000 gold apiece. You do realize how the economy for the guns works, Colin, right?
You're asking for an entire barrel's worth of stuff. This could supply you so many bullets that could be unreal.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was making sure you realized how much I get from each.
It still takes you time to make bullets, Zach.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh.
He says 1,000 gold for each barrel. And he says, if you buy both barrels, I'll throw in the metal for free.
Metal for free? Deal.
You pay him 2,000 gold?
Yep. I'm gonna be like, can you take this up to the guild and say that it's for Raziel, even though it's for me, because I'm not technically in the fucking guild yet.
He says, why certainly. He says, is that all?
Yes, that'll be it. Thank you.
He says, bye now.
And take my gun and walk out.
And you see, as soon as you go and turn around to walk out, you realize you're already outside.
I have Laura though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna walk back upstairs then.
Okay, so you do so. Head back up to the guild. This time by yourself. You see the dwarf and the human just kind of eye you.
Just look at him and be like, you guys are dicks. Walk by him.
You see him kind of grumble. He'll let you through though. So what do you do, Mercer?
Just going back upstairs.
Okay. Anybody else have anything pressing they're trying to attend to? Okay. So you meet up. What'd you say, Brittany?
Nothing doing.
Okay. So you basically join the rest of everyone else up in the Archmage's quarters.
I go, is there a room that you guys have to like store stuff?
Hang on a second. Hello?
Yeah, hey, Colin.
Alright, I'm gonna look at Yuki and be like, look, is there a place you guys store stuff?
Alright, what were we saying?
Speaking that we now have our own guild hall, we can store it there.
Alright, good, because I'm gonna have a pretty large package coming for that room here.
Okay.
Okay. So, you're all basically just sitting in the Archmage's quarters now. Makarov
Do you
is
know
actually...
where this room is?
You see Makarov in the time that you've basically have gone to get your supplies, you see he's fallen asleep on the floor.
Yuki, do you want to go check this room out?
Yuki will sigh and be like, if you pick up Makarov, sure.
Sure thing, I'll pick him up.
Take Makarov and Mercer to, I'm guessing, our new area on the 4th floor.
Okay. So you head down to the 4th floor, and you see what basically looks like... It basically looks like a hallway. It just basically looks like once you get on the 4th floor, you see this area that's off to the side. That looks like just a straight hallway with doors basically every couple feet on each side. Doesn't look like there'd be a lot of space there, but you feel like it's the right way to go.
Okay. So just go down there and open up one of the doors.
Okay. So you see you go looking around, and none of them, they basically all appear to be locked. Except for, as you're walking around, you see one, and it looks like basically it has the equivalent of like the Paylor holy symbol, basically like in the door itself, like etched into it. But it looks more arcane in nature. Like a basically like a marking on the door.
Yuki will sigh and see if the door opens.
You go to open it, and before you even touch the door handle, it just kind of swings open. And you see that the room actually is much bigger on the inside than it looked on the outside. You see it looks like a basically giant guild hall with basically a new hallway in its own right with various different rooms. Looks like it has a main like dining area.
I say, I could get used to this. Living in the mud, Takes its toll on you.
Okay.
Yuki will find one of the bedrooms and then take out her short sword and carve Makarov onto the door.
Okay. You, sir.
Colin, did you say Paler was on the door?
Paler's holy symbol.
Brittany, go with him.
Yeah, I'm assuming you guys are all following.
Brittany wants to find guards to do her things for her.
Okay.
Oh my god.
And the door. She wants the door, too.
Okay. So, you're walking around. You eventually find what looks like a half-orc guard roaming around the guild hall. He just kind of looks at you. You see kind of like a look of recognition in his eyes after a moment of hesitation. And so looks at you and says, "Why, hello, Miss Everbright. What can I do for you?"
Lots of things. First off, I was wondering if you could help me move my things. I got a new room, and I have a lot of things. You want to help?
He says, why certainly. He follows you.
Okay.
Oh my god.
And Colin, I'm not gonna help. I'm just gonna watch you do it.
Okay. You see, first thing
A
he
true
does.
manager.
You see, first thing he does, he goes downstairs to where your room is. He kind of follows you, and he opens up the door. You see, he starts basically like stacking stuff on top of each other. He
I
said,
say thanks. Let me know when you're done with that.
Jesus
he
Christ.
says, "Where am I taking your things?"
The 4th floor. I got a guild hall.
He says, "And what does the door look like?"
It's got a big, pretty sun on it.
He says, "Okay, Miss Everbright, is there anything else I should take inside of this room?"
The door. Will you take the door?
He looks at you kind of strangely, but he says, Of course, Miss Everbright."
Thanks.
This room no longer
Oh my
has a
God.
fucking door on it.
Is she allowed to do that? Is he a little bit angry? She just took a door.
It's my door. It's big.
Fucking the guild leader's just gonna walk by and be like, "Where's the
Oh,
fucking...
door.
There's no door here."
Oh boy. You see basically him starting to walk out, and you see basically he has one of your chests filled with all your like old clothes basically. He has like bookshelf, he has, you know, basically like all the miscellaneous stuff in your room just piled on the like he basically just has a giant pile together that he's picked up and is now just kind of like haphazardly walking with, almost like, you know, dropping stuff every time he takes a step.
I say, haha, be careful. Let me know when you're ready to get in my bed, and I'll come watch you do that too.
He says,
Colin.
he says, "Yes, Miss Everbright," and he just walks up the stairs.
I will hold the door open for him, though.
What a gentlewoman.
Oh boy. And a few minutes later, he drops all the stuff off in the guild hall, comes back down. Instead of, you see, he starts trying to disassemble the bed, and he's like, "How does this thing work?" And you see, eventually, he just basically picks the entire bed up, turns it sideways, and just starts shoving it out of the room. And then just basically starts carrying it on top of his head, holding it, trying to balance it, basically, and starts heading up the stairs.
He's carrying a bed upstairs by himself.
I say, wow, thanks so much. You're so helpful. I reach up and I
This is, of course, Miss Everbright. And you see, he's just kind of like stumbling on his words. He looks like he's out of breath. And he brings it upstairs. And you see this time, he just kind of like huffs and just heads back downstairs and seemingly kind of like actually speeding up past you at this point. And you just, as you're rounding the corner, you just hear, "Arrgh!" And you just hear just a giant, just tearing sound.
hit the door.
You just see basically the door's just been ripped off its hinges. The hinges along with it. It's basically just been ripped out of the wall. He says, is this what you wanted?"
Yeah. Take it upstairs to the guild
Do
hall.
any professors come by during this whole time?
You just see a couple students that are actually or next to your room. You hear a few are like, "Keep it quiet out there!" But you see a few of them actually come outside, and they're just kind of watching this friggin' guard just rip the door off the wall. And you just hear someone mumbling like, "Are we gonna have to pay for this?"
He doesn't hear them.
You see he just kind of puts it on the side and just carries it up the stairs. Walks up to the guild hall.
Follow him up.
Walks up to the guild hall door. Rips that one off and sets the other one in the middle of basically where the doorway was. And he says, "No, I'm not a carpenter. I don't know how to put it back on."
Could you go find me someone who can?
Sure, Miss Everbright.
Oh my god! How long has this guard been doing this shit for? Like an hour?
You see
2 hours?
you see for the first time he looks slightly annoyed and he walks off.
For the first time.
He does not come back after 10 or so minutes.
I want to go find him.
Make a perception check.
Should pay him some fat stacks for that.
I was going to.
Sure. They also.
Well, since you dropped some stuff, you won't get any payment.
You actually
Alan, where is he?
you being paladin self and all, you've been a little busy with your new venturing group. You actually go on the 6th floor, and you are passing by, which basically looks like one of the guild's like exclusive pubs, basically, and you just see him sitting at the counter, and you just hear him basically say, "I need a big one and stat." And you see he's basically, it looks like he's just drinking a giant mug of what looks like very strong ale.
I approach him.
Okay. He just turns around and he says,
I say, "Hi, did you ever find a carpenter?"
I'm working on that now, Miss Everbright."
I say, "Cool, thanks for the drink," and then I take it.
You see he puts his hand up and just kind of is like, that's mine, Miss Everbright."
I chug it.
He says, that was a very expensive bottle of ale, Miss Everbright."
I put down 5 pieces of gold on the counter.
Just thank you, Miss Everbright.
Of course, silly.
He says, "Finding a carpenter will take some time, Miss Everbright."
I hand him 5 pieces of gold.
He says, "I will see you in a week, Miss Everbright."
Bye.
Bye.
And then I want to go back to the guild hall.
Okay. Freaking Mike, man.
He literally died.
Bye.
Alright, so you head back up to the guild hall. Makarov, so Mercer, you brought him into the guild hall and laid him in his bed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna cross his hands over his heart
Oh my god, okay.
as he lays there. Be like, look,
Dead.
he's fucking dead. Just like in real life.
Oh boy.
Whatever that means.
Alright. So all the rest of you are in the Archmage's quarters at this point. After you knock, and Razio has to let you in because you don't have a key. You don't have one of the pendants left. And you see that Archmage is still sleeping in his chair. You see the Mind Flare is just basically sitting, like, crisscrossed inside the wall of force at this point.
Goes across the applesauce, spoons in the bowl?
Yes, and you see his head's just kind of down. To you, it looks like he's sleeping, but you don't even know if they do that, so... So what do you guys do?
I'm gonna look at the Mind Flare and be like, so what the fuck is that? What is that?
Who are you talking to, Mercer?
Hey, everyone in the fucking room.
An acquaintance.
Acquaintance. That. Why is it in a wall of force?
I believe it's called a calamari.
Okay. Okay.
What?
That's racist.
You can't say that about elephants, dude. That's fucking racist.
Yeah, okay.
The fuck?
Does he wake up? The calamari?
The elephant. No. You can't tell if you can't even tell if he's sleeping, but he does not move his head up. It's still down towards the floor.
So, and you put your acquaintances in walls of force.
It wasn't our idea. It was the Archmage's.
That's fucked up.
Well, I'd rather not have him here at all.
Why?
Because he's a monster. And she smiles.
Okay.
A monster?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So how's a monster an acquaintance?
I'm gonna top off your coffee. Can you go rinse it out and fill it with water?
He looks to
The
Raziel.
top boy. Thank you.
Raziel made a deal with their master.
Oh, my legs.
It's actually Jor-El that did that, bud, but just saying.
But Jorel's in here.
Will you make my coffee? You can fill it up more. You can
So
top it up
he's
more.
just here to get us back whenever we're done with our quest.
Well, I gotta put cream in there.
So are we gonna, like, wake that old guy up and leave, or are we just gonna stand here and look at each other?
No, Raziel's gonna have to teleport us there.
Yeah, I can get us
Oh,
to
yeah.
Rock, but I need to talk to
Wait,
someone.
where's
who
the
actually
black
knows
guy at?
The black guy.
Black guy.
I mean, he is a
You
black
know,
guy.
he's from the 1800s and all. Where's
Hey,
that?
where-
Whoa.
Where's the black guy at?
Demonetized.
As if this was ever
Right.
monetized.
Yeah, no.
Don't we need that guy?
Need
rest
is a
of-
strong word. I'd say benefit from having him with.
I mean, he did cough a lot.
Yeah,
Colin,
he always does
I don't
that.
know. Do you guys go looking for Anton or not? That's up to you guys.
I want to go find a guard.
My guess is he's gonna be sitting at his church, considering
Okay.
he's a
So you leave the
cleric
room,
and all.
Raziel. You go looking for a guard inside the guild hall in the city. What?
Yeah, well, yeah, inside the guild hall.
Okay. You do so. Appears to be human. Fine plate armor. Looks down at you.
Looks down at me. Wow.
How tall are you, Raziel?
I'm like set height, 5'8".
Yeah, no, he
So
looks
like 3'2".
he looks to be about 6 feet 8 inches.
Oh, okay. So what the
For
fuck?
human?
He's huge. He's like the tallest human I've ever heard of. Fucking Mr. Bailey, dude.
He's extremely
The
tall.
fuck? Mr. Bailey.
And he's not very lanky either. He looks pretty well built.
So Mr. Bailey.
Yeah, it is
Mr.
Mr.
Bailey.
Bailey. I just said, yeah, it's Mr.
That's
Bailey.
Mr. Bailey. He just looks down at you and says, yes.
Do you know anyone here who knows where Barak is?
He says, what's a barak?
It's some kind of little village or something, I think, far away. Near somewhere or something, I don't know. Just,
There's
like
someone.
bordering somewhere or something, I don't know.
He says,
Do you know
go find a map maker, student.
anyone?
Student. Ooh.
Alright, do I know where a map maker is?
Make a history check.
Yuki does.
Well, Yuki ain't here, so you know what? Fuck you, David. Nero. Ooh.
26.
Couldn't you have just use your keen mind?
I could have. I don't actually have to roll history checks anymore.
You just look at one brochure of the city. I know everything now! From what you remember, Raziel, there's...
Sorry. Let me go to the bathroom. What?
Okay, from what you remember, Raziel, there's many fine map makers in the city, but you know there's one extremely close to the guild hall. You know, remember it starts with an M.
No, not again, Colin. Come on.
What?
I go to that one.
Okay.
Starts with an M.
Starts with an M.
You're a piece of shit, Colin.
What?
What?
You know, there's another option available close to the guild hall that starts with a W.
No, we'll go to the M.
Okay. So you walk over, and you see what looks like a fairly simple looking shop. And the actual sign just says M on it.
Just M.
Just a very ornate, like, cursive M, basically.
Colin said I needed to go find a map maker, and so he said I know of one that's near the guild hall, and its name starts with an M.
Map maker.
No, not map
I know
maker.
who it is.
Yeah. Alright, I guess I go in.
Okay.
Let's see.
So, you walk inside, and you're greeted by, it looks like a man in his 30s or 40s, kind of brownish orange robes, and basically a sharp-tipped black beard, black hairline, a little receding at the top, but not by much.
I say, how are you doing?
He says, well, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Archmage?
Exactly the same voice.
I say, is this a map shop?
He looks at you and says, you could say that.
He looks at you. He looks at a globe. He looks back at you and goes, maybe.
He says, you could say that.
I say to him, I need to know where, I think the city's called Barak. I need to know where somewhere called Barak
He
is.
says, now why would you ever want to go there?
It's, you know...
Guild business.
It is some guild business, but my party and I have to go over there to deal with...
You see he just puts his
something,
hand out.
aid.
You see it looks like he casts telekinesis spell of some sort. You see a book fly into his hand. He hands it to you. He says, is there anything else you need?
Nope.
He says, pleasure doing business with you. Hands it to you, and you see a few gold coins fly out of your coin purse into his hand. Says, goodbye now.
Alright. That was simple. Thank you. And I leave. Fucking Mordekainen's an asshole.
And you see the door shut behind you. On its own.
And then the door shuts to you. Oh, Mordekainen won't be back for 1 million years. Fine. Alright.
And as you're walking off, you just hear, have a good day.
I look back. Do I see anyone?
No, you don't see anybody.
I ask, who said that?
No one. Go away.
Did I see anyone talk that time or no?
No, you didn't see anybody talk.
I'm just all like, whatever.
Okay.
And I leave.
Okay.
I want to read my book now.
Okay. So you read over it, and of course, you with your keen mind, you're memorizing every little detail. It basically just looks like a traveler's guide to Barak and the surrounding regions, basically, but it looks like it's maybe anywhere from 50 to 100 years old. So maybe not might not be the most up-to-date version, but it looks like it would do.
So do I know where Barak is now?
You know generally where it's at? You know, kind of like the geography of the surrounding land, you know, even down to basically like the, kind of like they have like a general drawing of what the city looks like and stuff like that.
And I will head back up there to the party.
Okay. You do so. Everyone in the Archmage's chambers, except for Makarov, who has fallen asleep in the guild hall, and Anton, who is somewhere. You guys know somewhere. Yeah, guys have not looked for him. So.
Is the party there?
Yeah, rest of the party's there.
I say, alright everyone, I know how to get to Barak now, so I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the circle, so go ahead and wrap up whatever it is you're doing here.
Colin, can I paint my nails?
With what?
Nail polish.
I don't think you have nail polish.
Colin, I'm a fucking noble with pink armor. Why wouldn't I have nail polish?
Brittany, you have one small vial of nail polish. Good for 3 more uses.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay. Nail polish was invented in the 20s, so this is like way, way before.
Very primitive version. Comes off very easily. She's basically literally just painting
I
her
made them
nails.
myself, damn it. Oh.
God.
Oh, Lee.
Zach has guns, but I can't have nail polish. Okay. Your sword talks to you, Yuki. Fuck you.
It's magical.
Magic.
Invent it.
See, if it was magic nail polish, there'd be no questions of the logistics.
Fuck you, Colin. I pay my fucking nails.
I'm just saying it'll come off pretty easily, but you can do it.
Yeah, because you ain't got that top coat for it, you know?
Yeah. You're basically literally just painting your nails, so.
Okay, fine. You know what? Fine.
Gets out an actual full-blown, like, paintbrush. It's just sitting there like this.
Gets slightly wet. No!
I was too nervous to paint my other hand.
Okay. So.
Other than that, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Hagrid's been fairly silent this whole time. Does Hagrid have literally anything he needs to get done?
What did you do? What did you do? What did you do?
No, Hagrid's fine. I had to go, you know, nature's call, you know, porcelain throne and all that.
Porcelain throne. Okay.
Yeah.
Now Hagrid's just waiting.
Hagrid's, you know, just sitting there, you know, scratching his nuts.
Hagrid sounds very similar to another player character that was once in this party.
But Hagrid has a higher intelligence.
I'm not so sure. Okay.
Hey, in the character sheet, he has a higher intelligence.
So what do the rest of you guys do? Everyone's basically just looking at Raziel at this point.
I'm just making the circle. It only takes like a minute to do it, so like
Yep.
everyone's ready then. We're out.
This is gonna be fucking dangerous, dude. It's been so long since I've been teleported by another player.
Wait, Seth, do you know teleportation circle and the sigil that you're going to be using to Brock?
I'm assuming the book had it.
So
It's
a
a
shimmering
four-
pour opens and remains still in.
Because he doesn't have the teleport spell.
Yeah.
Your teleportation circle.
temples, guilds, and other important places apparent and not somewhere within the confines. String match when you first gain When you first gain the ability to cast a spell, you learn the signal sequences for 2 destinations on the material plane. You can learn additional ones during adventures. You can permanent teleport signals. So right now, basically, here's how this works. You're operating on the complete faith that there is a teleportation circle somewhere in Barak.
Yes.
And you're going based on description in the first place of where Barak is. So, here's how it's going to work. You're going to roll a D100. If you
Wait,
roll...
Colin, wait. Colin, there's rules for the teleport spell to have stuff for this.
That's for teleport. That's not for teleportation circle.
No, I know, but I mean, it would apply here. Because he knows the place by
No,
description.
this is much more dangerous because he doesn't even know if there's a teleportation circle there to begin with, and that's the
Okay.
only way this spell works.
You ready?
So here's how it's gonna work. You're gonna roll a D100. You roll below a 25 or below, something is gonna happen. So
What is
roll.
it, Colin?
Fuck!
Hey!
Oh, thank God.
Okay. So you
Better than
basically
the teleport spell.
Yeah.
create a teleportation circle on the ground with some arcane runes. And you see it just starts kind of glowing, this arcane purplish / bluish glow, just kind of emanating from it, basically like little sparkles coming out from the top of it. And when you look down onto the teleportation circle, it basically looks like, from your point of view, you see what looks like the sky, but it looks like it's it looks like it may be actually a little bit darker. It looks like it may be nearing dusk, while right now for you guys it's basically noon right now.
We're on like the opposite side of the world. Alright. I say, well, ladies first. And I look to Brittany.
I say, sure, thanks. And then I run through.
Okay.
Are we not getting Anton?
Goodbye, Anton.
Yeah.
We can't now.
Yeah, nope. Alright.
Spell durations for 1 round, so 6 seconds.
So hurry up, go through.
So you all run
You-
through?
Yep.
You can jump through.
Okay. Mercer?
Why not?
Hagrid?
Hagrid will do a cannonball.
A cannonball. Okay.
You know, hold your nose.
Yeah.
So the person who casts the spell goes last.
Yeah.
So you guys look around and you appear to be in the middle of a forest somewhere. You see what looks around. Well, actually make a perception check. See exactly what you guys see.
What is going on in here?
Colin, there's music for this.
The music right now is fine, Mercer. It's atmospheric.
I know, but there's forest music.
Alright, look, I'll change it in a second. Chill out. So everyone except for Hagrid, who's once again completely oblivious. You guys,
Again, Joey, not like last session.
you guys look around and you see what looks like in front of you. You see what looks like an offering bowl to some sort of deity.
Oh my god, we're here.
You see, look around. You see what looks like a
The
dwarven corpse.
nostalgia.
You see
Yep.
a dwarven corpse of some kind, and it looks like it's basically all but decayed. And you see all around the bushes around you. You see once again what looks like dwarven corpses. They're all decayed at this point.
Damn, someone had a bad day.
Okay.
Well, they look pretty old, so I'm assuming this is a threesome.
What gave that off? The rotten stench or the flies over their bodies?
There actually really isn't much of a stench. They're literally skeletons.
Snap.
Oh, a skeleton?
There's
For
skeletons
skeletons?
There was over like 2 or 3 months of like time period between you guys.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they're skeletons, Colin.
Well, it could have also been years.
They've,
Oh, fuck.
they've been outside for months.
Actually, no. It'd be years, Colin.
About like a week.
Remember Anton was like there for like 2 years, wasn't he?
Look, the time period is a little rough right now. It's somewhere between months and like 2 years, so they're skeletons.
Also, magic. Get
Yes.
fucked. And animals.
Magic, yes.
If it's
And
buried
animals.
if it's buried 6 feet, it takes years. But I'm assuming since it's exposed to the element, it probably decayed faster than normal.
Then plus you got owlbears and jackal
So
wares
that's what you
all
guys
around this
see.
area anyway.
You basically see, like, as you guys look around, you are clearly standing, and what looks like was previously just completely covered up by dirt. It looks like an arcane circle that's basically just been cast out here in the middle of nowhere.
Interesting. Let's find the town. Get this job over with so we can get paid.
6, 7.
Can I do an Arcana check on the like circle?
On the circle?
Yeah, to see like if I can like give an estimate of how long ago this circle's been made or whatever.
Yeah. Make an Arcana check.
Okay.
And tell me what you roll, because I'm reloading up 20.
25.
I got 25.
25? As far
Says
as you can
cognac.
tell, it looks like it's been here for about maybe 2
Couple months to a year.
years. 2 years, maybe a few months over a year, somewhere in that range. Somewhere between a year or 2.
Wow. Huh? Do we see a road or anything? Anything at all?
Make a general survival check to see if you can kind of get the vibe of where the road would be from here, because you're literally in the middle of the
vibe.
forest.
21.
21. Well, one is roll 20, you gotta be so stupid.
It's being dumb for me too.
So you got 21. As far as you can tell, you're about maybe half a mile, fourth of a mile off the road. And you can tell where it leads back. You can see kind of the trail where it leads back to the main, to looks like a main road of some sort.
Okay. I guess I'll start
Wait, should
heading
I
that
call Mike on Discord, see if he wakes up?
You can try
direction.
it.
Look at
I
him.
mean,
look at
little
him.
wait.
I'll try it.
He'll be there in a month.
I'll call him. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Maybe Colin could just shoehorn him in.
And what do you know? Makarov just appears before your eyes. Ah, ha, ha.
Hey guys.
So what do the rest
I
of
mean,
you
you
guys
can
do?
always just... Well, I guess I start heading towards the road. Or what looks like the road.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
I go. The journey awaits.
Yeah, so you guys head down the road, and you basically just see this road that just winds.
No,
Looks
you didn't
like-
even fucking move.
You just see this road that looks like it kind of just like winds towards the north. You don't see really anything besides woods on either side at the moment.
What time is it?
And it looks like it's approaching dusk.
Okay. I say to everyone, we should probably start heading one of these directions and hopefully get somewhere before it's night.
Okay, then lead the way.
Alright.
Okay. So you start leading the way, Razzle?
Yeah, can I do a survival check to see if I can tell which way like tracks are usually going towards or away from
Yeah, make a survival check.
at all on the road? Like a little horse maybe.
Head them both ways.
Alright, great.
Can't tell which one's like more frequent or which one's like where the caravans are going or anything like that.
I guess I'll just head north.
Okay. So you guys follow the road north for about an hour or so. At this point, real time, it's like 6:30ish, getting pretty close to dark. But it starts the road starts following land. It gets a little bit less flat, starts getting a little more hilly, and when you go up one of these inclines, basically, you can see off in the distance. It looks like, in comparison to your standards, looks like a fairly small city. And you just kind of see, you know, this off in the distance.
Wow. Oh no, it finally fucking happened.
And as you guys get
I wonder what
closer,
those are.
as you guys get closer and closer to the front entrance, you notice that something's a little off about this city that looks kind of unremarkable from a distance. Once you guys get about half a mile out,
So
you see these extremely large, what looks like at first like constructs like golems of some sort, but they're very distinct from that.
Dead.
What happened?
What happened?
I didn't do
don't know.
that. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't make them. I didn't do it.
You see just one hand, you see it's just these large bipedal constructs of some sorts, all you can really make of it. Mercer, you might have a little more insight to what these things are, but... And you just see one of the hands is just, looks like it just has arcs of lightning just running down each of its... basically just has arcs of lightning running down each of its hands for each of these large constructs. That are... They're not literally this big, they're not like taller than the wall. They're like 20 feet tall.
Ugh.
25 feet tall. And they're just standing on either side of the portcullis to the entrance of the city here.
How far away are we?
You're about somewhere between half a mile and a fourth a mile out. You can clearly see them in front of the gate.
Okay. I guess I'll approach. I have no idea what the hell those are.
Okay. So as you guys approach, you see that their other hands, once you guys get within about, I don't know, like 100, 200 feet from the gate, you see their other hand actually points towards you as you guys are approaching. And you just hear this extremely loud, just very high-pitched voice. Who goes there?
Did David just get it?
No, I think it's something else.
Oh.
I say...
Come on, speak up! Speak up or they're gonna execute their main directive.
Colin, I wanna speak up. I wanna go up and I wanna say, hi, my name's Brittany Everbright. What's yours?
Oh my god, please stop.
Can we come inside? We're on official business.
Official business of who, Missy?
Of the Everbrights.
Who?
And the guild. I forgot the guild's name.
Who are the Everbrights? Sounds like a bunch of losers to me.
I said, well, it's okay to be wrong, sir.
What did you just say to me?
Look, we're on official business with the Andrios Guild. Have you heard of us? We're pretty important.
You mean those losers we contracted out? Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, we're those losers. Let us in.
Alright. You see one of them moves aside. And just, you see the other one just kind of looks over and says, now wait a second! Now you might be a hack that's just gonna let these people through, but I ain't gonna do that! And you see the other one just looks at you and he says, look, pay the toll or you're not getting in!
Are you kidding me? They're both here? I wanna die!
You're telling me that both Neville and Salem have their own golems protecting the city?
So you're telling me we have to pay to get into the city?
It's official business! How else are we gonna maintain this fine city if we don't collect some, you know, taxes?
From the
Well,
people who live
you
there.
hired us to come here to
Look,
help you.
if you want in, it's 5 gold apiece. No buts.
That's not gonna happen.
I'm gonna notice this and look at the other golem and be like, you're just gonna allow this extortion?
You just look. You just see the other.
I mean,
you see the other.
if we do pay, we can just tell the king that's happening. Maybe
You just,
something
you
will
just hear
happen.
instantly the golem just goes like, whoa, buddy. Let's not get hasty. He says, I'll reduce the price for you. 2 gold just for you. Limited time offer.
How about you give us money and we don't tell the king?
Make a intimidation check.
Yeah, to a robot. You're gonna intimidate this fucker through a robot. I'm gonna laugh.
Come on, natural 20. Ooh, I'll take it.
You just see the contra just kind of looks down at you. Says, all right. You're really no fun. Just don't say anything to the king. He says, my business is bad enough as it is. He looks you through.
You hear the other golem laugh.
You hear the other one as you guys are walking through. He's like, hey, actually, if you tell the king about this exchange, says, I'll throw in a nice sum for you.
Which one's Salem and which one's Neville?
That's the real question.
Well, I'm guessing the one on the left, the one that tried to extort us, is Neville because he called the other one a hack.
Yeah,
probably.
You guys have no idea of knowing who either of those people are, so.
Yeah.
If Anton was here, but he isn't.
I said, I'm Brittany. What's yours?
What?
Colin.
What did you say, Brittany?
I did ask their names. I said, I'm Brittany. What's your name?
Which one did you look at?
The first one, the nicer one.
He says, she says, that would take far too long, Missy.
That's Salem.
Which of his 7
He
names?
says, just know, as he's basically walking in the city, he says, just know I'm the most important person you're ever gonna meet.
Definitely Salem.
Dude.
So basically, as you guys walk in the city, it looks like, basically, you know, much more, let's just say, modest city than what you guys are used to, except for the distinction that you don't see any humanoid guards. They all appear to be, basically, they look like suits of armor that are walking around on their own volition without any outside control.
Yeah.
And where their weapons would be, it looks like they just have 2 large shields as hands as they're walking around. Much smaller than the ones in the front, but still appear to be constructs of some sort.
Yeah, I know which ones those are. Yeah, I got you, Colin.
They're actually, they look to be like 4.5 feet tall, but they still look pretty sturdy.
Pretty strong.
Wasn't our guild like right here?
Yeah, it was right where Joey's standing to these two.
I know Salem's shop is somewhere around. Whoa, we made it!
keeps moving my fucking token.
Yuki will walk to the nearest person, actual human,
Okay.
and ask them, "Where's the castle?"
They say, you see one of them looks at you and says, "Are you a demon?"
Oh fuck, there are no tieflings here.
Are you a demon?
Yuki just takes a moment and says, "No, I'm not a demon."
Look, you just watch yourself. Discrimination's illegal here, but people still go missing.
She takes a step forward and says, "Say that again and you won't live."
Are you threatening me?
What happened to the lawful
No,
good shit?
I'm-
Yuki? Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying people go missing around here.
I'm just saying. Lawful good. Oh, fucking hell.
Hey, I'm not lawful good.
She says,
That's
"Look,
what they
look."
were.
You
No,
see,
chaotic good.
you see how much she was sure of herself a few seconds ago quickly deflates. She's like, "Look, I'm not looking for trouble," and she just basically tries to just skim her off.
Answer my question.
What do you want?
Where's the castle?
He says, "It's the second biggest building in the city. The second tallest is right there." And she points towards the middle of the city.
Hey, what's the largest
Thank
building in
you.
the city?
And have a nice day. Walks away.
I swear to God, if it's sailing in Neville's workshops, I'm gonna kill myself.
I don't know. Didn't ask her. Like, So you guys
Yuki
have-
will start walking towards the castle.
you guys head that way?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys head up, and for the first time, you see what looks like actual human guards that are lining, or in this case, human and dwarven guards, that are basically lining the stairway up to the main castle gates. They appear to be in fairly nice, somewhat decorative plate armor all the way up. You guys kind of eye all of you as you walk up the stairs. Until eventually 2 dwarven guards in full plate just kind of look at all of you. Says, "Now what be your business here?"
We were hired by the king.
What? He says, You were hired by King Corin."
That is his name.
He says, "Who are you exactly?"
We are from the Guild Andrios.
He says, "Oh, the mercenaries. Okay." He moves the other way. Another one does the same. He says, "Just behave yourself, and we'll all get along just fine." I like you
This
think.
isn't our first rodeo.
Okay.
We've done a lot more shit than you would imagine, bud.
Yeah, I'm sure. And they open the door for you.
Whatever you say.
Well, you
This is our town, scrub.
Yeah.
Beat it.
And this time you walk through, and you see, once again, similarly, you see mostly human and dwarf guards. But on either side of the throne room, you see once again these very large constructs on either side of the throne. Basically just standing a few feet from the king. And you just hear the voices almost simultaneously like, "Well, well, well."
Oh, dude.
As we were walking towards them, Yuki will look towards you and say, "Should we tell the king about the mishap at the gate?"
I honestly don't really care if some robots try to shank me down or something.
Maybe not us, but what about normal folk? If they don't have enough money to buy them.
I mean, that's a fair point to probably bring it up.
So as you guys are approaching, you see what looks like a fairly standard size, standard height dwarf who's wearing what looks like basically some fine robes with a little bit of like, it looks like kind of like a breastplate over it that has some very like fine artwork on it. And he's wearing what looks like a golden crown. And you see he kind of has like basically this red cape that's cut just for his size to where it's not too long. And he kind of just steps off his throne. He says, Are you all from Andrios?
He says yes, and she gives him a deep bow.
He says, welcome, welcome. He says, why are you here exactly?
Brazil.
Keen mind. I tell him everything.
You have a problem. You have a problem with your court mage, didn't you? He went missing or something like that.
He says, well, he's not exactly missing. I kicked him out of my throne room.
He kicked Palpatine out of his throne room.
Why'd you do that?
He says, I found out he was casting suggestion spells on the entire court.
You're strong enough to do that on the whole court?
He says, when I found out, he says, one day, I guess his foul magics weren't particularly strong that day. I saw through the illusion, and when I confronted him about it, he got a little upset. And I told
towards some ash piles of crazy stars.
And I told him he could take him and his foul magic somewhere else, and he just rambled on about having a better client anyway and left.
Wow.
And what do you want us to do about that?
He says, having him locked up in the dungeon sounds like a nice outcome for all of this.
How sure are you that's a good idea? I mean, if he can cast suggestion on your whole court, couldn't he just do it again on you and just free him?
Tied up, gagged, and left to rot.
Fair enough.
You'd want him alive.
He says, I'd pay extra.
Dead or alive, I get paid.
Okay.
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to say. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
He says, well, you know how those wizards are. He says, not too far from here. He says, the sheer audacity of it. Only a few miles out.
Wait, what do you mean you know how those wizards are? What do you mean by that?
He says,
He
someone's
gives it
building.
his
He said, someone's built a tower only a few miles from here.
Oh. He got a dungeon tower! You've gotta be kidding me.
He says, the audacity of it. It's like he's asking me to go over there.
Probably is.
Let's fuck him up.
How did he even get out of here in the first place? Not only do you have guards, but you have these weird, whatevers these are around here.
He says, well, he says the problem was, well, I broke from the spell. Most of my guards at the time were still under it. He says he left of his own free will. I wasn't about to confront him while he still controlled most of my guards.
Oh, and out of curiosity, who made these
He says
things?
He says, well, it depends on which ones you're talking about. He says, some were built by a local inventor. He says others were built from a foreigner.
Who's the local inventor?
He says, well, he needs no introduction, and he says, and you just hear, actually, it's Salen Spark Spinner to you.
So does he recognize that as the voice who tried to bribe them? Not bribe them, tried to extort them?
It
Or
sounds,
the other voice?
it sounds similar, but different enough to where you can identify as a different individual. They sound of the same race. They have kind of the similar speech pattern, similar like intonation, but it's different.
You look to Razio and be like, is that him?
Can I use my keen mind? Do I notice a difference? Is that him or no?
It doesn't sound like the one that mugged you, no.
I say I don't think so.
Okay, and the other one's name?
He says, the foreigner we just call the little gray devil, or Neville, so.
Neville. I'll let you report you to something.
He says, certainly. He says, what would that be?
As we were walking through the gates, we were stopped
He
by...
says, whoa, 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 whoa,
procedure.
whoa, 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 whoa. You just hear it as the voice just becomes booming at this point. He says, whoa, let's not get hasty. He says, oh, good king, you know, I've always been good to you. He says, I've helped you build a fine royal court. He says, let's not forget that before he continues this little story of his. This outsider.
Is that one
I
so
am-
different, Colin?
Oh, I'm
His-
sorry. I didn't mean to offend you, devil person. My bad.
Your racism is. Like,
Whoa, racism! I'll have you know discrimination is illegal in Barack. And you see the robot do a slight bow. He says, "Thank you, my king. Thank you for hearing my side of the story. Continue."
Was that the other robot, the one that didn't talk originally?
Yes,
So-
the other robot.
Yeah, got him.
the robots that were made by Salem allowed us through after we showed a proper authorization. The other robot, however, got in the way and demanded that we pay 5 gold each before we went in.
You see that King Corn just kind of looks over at the robot, and you see the robot replies, "That's the most outrageous thing I've ever heard. Why would I do that? I make plenty of money as is. And clearly this outsider is just full of lies."
No. You. Yeah. Say that again, Colin. Sorry.
He just like dubiously just looks over. He says, "That's outrageous. I make plenty of money as is. Why do you believe this outsider? He's full of lies."
Why would I lie? What benefit would he give me?
Says, you seek to usurp me. You want to supply the army for the guard. That's the only explanation.
Me, with my 2 swords, seek to usurp you.
I
creating
see
these
through
machines.
you. You want to create a new training program. Try to convince him that they're better than my robots. I see through you.
I dare to no such thing.
You see the king just sighs heavily. He just says, I am deeply sorry for what you had to go through. He says, I will be having a talk with my advisor here.
Does not bother me personally. It's just your other people who would seek to come to the city might not be as wealthy as us.
He says,
Having to pay
I will personally send some of my own royal guard to watch over the situation for the next few weeks.
He gives him a slap out and says, "Thank you."
And you just hear the robot's voice.
You hear the other robot say, "Serves you right, you hack." Oh man, sometimes.
When are we eating food?
You hear Brittany yell top of her lungs.
Except to you guys, because
So guys, like, when are we eating food?
you guys got a clear direction. So if you want to stop here, eat food, and then come back, we can.
Zach.
I'll come back.
Oh my god, he's alive!
God.
Hey!
Welcome.
Welcome back.
We
You
tried
How
to
was
just
your
missed.
beauty sleep?
3 hours of session, bud.
I got a good picture of you, Mike. I put it in the Discord. You can see it.
Do you scroll up?
Scroll up. Yeah.
You okay, Mike?
Yeah.
Did you have work yesterday or something?
No. My boss let me take a day off.
Sleep deprived Macaron.
Wait,
I didn't go
that's,
to bed till
what's your
Thursday.
picture?
It's who is it, Colin?
What?
Wasn't it Wang Gang or something?
Wang Mang.
Yeah, it's Wang Gang Day.
The greatest Chinese leader to ever live.
Why is he the greatest Chinese leader to ever live?
Wait,
Because he instituted socialist policies, and then they were like, hey, you're helping the poor people, and they killed them.
Okay, if we're
The
stopping
rich
at
people
food.
killed them. It's really good.
No, I found the Zoom.
Alright, what time do we want to be back by?
6, I guess.
6?
We normally do about an hour, so I guess 6:15 would be the best.
Hey,
Probably about
Colin.
I'm gonna put pants on.
Colin, make sure you upload the session and make sure your mic was on.
I checked it was on before I even started this stuff.